Welcome back to my channel. So on today's tutorial I'll be showing you how I made this long sleeve cowl neck with an elastic on the wrist. Please like, subscribe and share, and also click on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new tutorial. So I'll start off by taking all my vertical measurements. So I just have a straight line there, this is acting as my shoulder line. So from the shoulder line I'll just mark the bust point, which I marked 10 inches, and then I'll just go down here by the waist inches, which I marked 15 inches, and I'll also go down to my hip point here, which I'm marking 19 inches. So once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna make the vertical lines, and then I'll just mark my shoulder line, bust point, waist line, and then I'll just mark my hip line. And now I'll be taking my shoulder to shoulder measurement, which I marked here, which is 7 inches, and then I will also mark 3.5 inches for my neck hole right there. So I will come here where I marked 7 inches, and then I'll go down by 1 inch, and then I'll just join these 2 points together like this. And then once I'm done with that, I will take my armhole circumference, divide by 2, and then just make a point, and then I'll just make a straight line here like this. So after making a straight line, this will be my chest line, and then I'll just extend the line here down to the chest line. So once I'm done with that, I'll come here on this line, and then I'll just find a midpoint with 4 inches. After finding the midpoint of 4 inches, I will just take my tape measure here, and then I will just mark my round bust measurements, divide by 4, and then make a point. And I will take my curve ruler to just join the lines together. So you can also do this part freehand. So now I'll be taking my round circumference measurements here, divide by 4, and then I'll just make a point on the waistline. I will take my hip circumference, divide by 4. I'll also make a point. And then once I'm done with that, I'm just going to take my ruler and then just join the 2 points together. So here on the hip line, I'll just go down here by about 2 inches. And once I'm done with that, I'm just going to be cutting out. So while I just put my fabric here, it's on fold, so I'm going to be cutting the back and the back first, and then I will also cut out the front after. So for the back, I'm just going to align my fabric to the pattern paper, and then I just added 1.5 inches on the side for the sewing allowance right here. So I just make the dotted lines here, so I'm just adding 1.5 inches on the sides, and then on the armhole I only added half an sewing allowance, half an inch of the sewing allowance. So this is it. So I'm just gonna pin this down and then cut out. So well, after cutting out, I will take my tape measure and then come down here by 1.5 inch, sorry, by half an inch, and then I'll just cut out here like this, and then I'll just make a curve straight to my shoulder line. So I was supposed to do it here on the pattern paper, but then this is just to show you how you must do it. Once I'm done with cutting out the back, I'm just gonna put it aside, and then I'll just now focus on cutting out the front. So from the front, I'm just gonna fold my fabric here. It's on fold, so just make sure that you have enough fabric. And then I will come here on the chest line, and then I'll just cut out the chest line part like this. And then after cutting out, I'm just gonna be aligning everything here on the shoulder and the fold. So the more you open the part that I'm showing there with the arrow, that's how more the neckline will be, how deep the neckline will be. So I'm just coming here to make sure that when I cut out here, I'm also counting a part where will act also as a interfacing. So I'm just putting my tape measure. If you can check here on the shoulder line, I'm moving my pattern paper as I'm marking about 10 to 11 inches. So at this point, I'm just going to mark a line like this, a slant line, not a straight line. And like I did on the back part, I'm adding 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance on the sides, and then on the armhole I only added 0.5, which is half an inch. and cut out. So when I come to the shoulder line here, I'm gonna make a very small notch here, and it will be easier for me to align the shoulders I have on the front and on the back when I have the notches. So I will know where to start and then where to attach. You, as you can see, I'm just trying to firstly align the shoulders from the notch. And now I'll be moving on from here to here. I'm just going to make a zigzag stitch. So if you can tell there, I made a zigzag stitch. So you can also just hem in, maybe just fold in, and then you just make a stitch just for a clean finish. So after doing that, I will come here on the back neckline. I'm just gonna fold in here like this and then just make a stitch only on the back line. But then what I did was I used a bias to just fold in this part. So if you don't have a bias, you can just fold in like how I'm doing here and then just make a stitch. And once I'm done with that, I'll just be joining the shoulder lines together, right side facing each other, as you can see. So I'm just gonna make a stitch to join the shoulders together. And then once I'm done with joining the shoulders together, I'm just gonna be showing you how it looks at the moment. So if you don't want your top to have sleeves, what you can do is to just hem the sides of the shoulders and then also join the shoulders together. So now for me, as I'm making a sleeve, so I'm just gonna be measuring what I have here, which is about 10 inches, and then I'm just gonna be cutting this on fold. So I'm making a straight line here, and then I'm just gonna take my tape measure here, and then I'll just try making a curve here. So by making this, I'm just trying to get the 10 inches I have on the armhole. So after doing that, since I'm making a gather sleeve, I'm just gonna also mark the length, and then I'm just gonna make a line like this, and then I will just cut out. So I'm gonna cut out two of this, and then after doing that, I'm just gonna be placing them on the armhole I have on the top here. So I'm just gonna be aligning everything together and then just make a stitch. So this is how I'm just showing you how it will look. So I'm going to head over to my sewing machine and make a stitch. So this is how it looks. So the inner parts of the sleeves and also the side part of this top, they are not sewed in. So the next thing for me to do now is I'm just gonna be working on the sleeves. So where I'm going to attach to insert my elastic. So I've already made the elastic casing on the arm here. I've already made the elastic on the arm, so I just fold it in and then make a stitch, and then I'm just gonna measure the size I need for the elastic, and then after doing that, I'll just cut out. After cutting out, I'm just gonna pass in through the elastic, and I will do the same for both sleeves. And this is what I have. So now the next thing for me to do is to join the sides together. So I'm just gonna make a stitch to join the sides on the arm and also on the bodies. So I'm just gonna be joining these parts here together, and then after joining that part together, I'm also going to hem the bottom part of this top. And then that's it for today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Also click on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much. I will see you on the next tutorial.